lastly is developing an investment policy that works for the school district. As I will reference later on in the presentation, Pliget only works with local governments in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We manage and work with over 3,000 local governments just in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Currently, we have under management about $5.8 billion of just local government. And when I say local government, school district, counties, municipal authorities. So we work with putting together investment portfolios and investment policies for school districts on a regular basis. Part is where I like to say is we're working together as a team. And that's the way I saw your RFP, the way it was presented. And I think it's important that I'm coming in here this evening with a firm belief that working together as a team is probably the best approach for the school district. Due to the fact that there are some things that a local financial institution maybe not be able to do, and there are probably some things, because of the way the trust is set up, that the trust may not be able to do. So working together, working out for the best interest of the school district, will end up providing the best results for you all. So the way I see this is actually that we would be working with the school district, the trust, and more than likely another local financial institution. Areas that would work, which I'm reading your RFP, there is the need for coin and immediate check deposits into a local financial institution. The way we are set up, we do not have a bricks and mortar building down the street. We would not have some of these services that you would need. So without a doubt, you would have the need and desire to have a local branch of a bank providing these opportunities so that someone can go and deposit a check that day. Coinage that's picked up from your local schools can be deposited to that institution that day. That's important. Where we can come into play is your real estate taxes, your earned income taxes, your subsidies from the Department of Education can be direct deposited into a Pliget account, because we do have relationships and work with other tax administrators, the state, and usually get these type of subsidies and tax dollars in 3, 5, 7 days earlier sometimes. So as I like to say, you're not going to make $1 million off of it, but if you can get it into your account 1 or 2 days earlier, it's in the best interest of the district. So I see things things of that nature that we could work together as a team. I think on the following page, I'm just going to kind of get into a little bit of the background on Pliget. The right side is what I normally use when we're discussing banks, but tonight I'm going to stick to the left side, and it's really about the trust. We are a not-for-profit trust. Our board of directors are made up, and it'll reference in the appendix I'll go into at the end, 11 board members. These board members of the trust are made up of people like you, and or people like Patty. They're either elected officials and or appointed officials. The way these members are brought onto the trust is that through one of the state organizations, let's say in Patty's case, PASBO or something or PSVA, we would go to them and say, we're looking for a board member because one just stepped down. That association would in fact select the board member for the trust. We do not go out and solicit board members to become members of our trust. It comes from your association. As referenced, there are no fees on our money market accounts. We have a free checking requirement, or ability. We have no reserve requirements, as some financial institutions have. On most of our funds, we have no balance requirements. One of the big things which is important is, as referenced earlier, because we only deal with local governments, that we are very, very familiar with the investment abilities of school districts, what you can invest in and what you cannot invest in. Not saying that other financial institutions do a bad job, but in my career I have encountered on more than one occasion that I find out that a financial institution that's also dealing with the Chevy dealer and the pizza parlor guy and all like that is looking to do their best job to find out that they have invested in areas that aren't permitted under Pennsylvania code. I think this is important, at least to me. We, with our over 3,000 members of the trust, we treat everyone the same. So you can be Little Nowhereville Borough in the middle of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, or you can be the city of Harrisburg or the city of Philadelphia, and everyone gets the same return on their investments. So we don't cherry pick this person and give them a high percentage and the other guy down the road gets nothing. So we really try to treat everyone in the trust equally. As referenced, because we are a trust and we're set up differently than a bank, that we do not have a bricks and mortar store down the street. So as referenced, from reading your RFP, it is an area that I think is vital to what the school district is looking to accomplish, that need for a bricks and mortar are there. I think where we do really come together is one of our mantras at Pliget is safety, liquidity, and yield. So the most important factor with the trust is the safety of your investments. The second is to make sure that there's the proper liquidity, so when you need the funds, that they're available. And last but not least, is getting a good return on your investments. As referenced, we always maintain and work with state statutes. Investment policies are something that I think is very important, because we can sit down with your staff and you and put together a policy that works for the school district. But I can also bring to the table is I probably do this 50, 60 times a year, working with not just school districts, but other governmental entities, either on developing investment policies and or enhancing existing investment policies. I try to make things somewhat simple. Why reinvent the wheel? If X school district has something that's working very well for them, I think it's very great that I have the ability to come to another school district and say, this is something that's worked out very well for school district X. It could work out very well for you all. I think the other thing, as I've already referenced, is diversification. Lastly is convenience. Working with Patty in other positions, I am available anytime that she would need to work with me. Getting into the more meat and potatoes of it, we have a program that's moving forward. You'll see it is, and you have a sample report there for your review at your leisure. It's called CAP. It's a cash allocation program. But in my presentation here, really what it does is, this is a program that we work, and we will take a look at your inflows and your outflows of your cash. Almost every governmental entity has X times throughout the year in which you get your inflows. Tax season, subsidy times, things of that nature. You're not using all those funds at one time. So what we do is, through an analysis, is we provide you a cash flow study on what type of liquidity you need, when you need that liquidity. And when I'm saying that, so you have enough money in your checkbook so that you can write the checks that you need. But, as we all know at home, we don't want to keep all our money in our checkbook because you're not making any money off of that. So we will work with you on that. And what is very important is, it's not just a Pliget thing. So when or if you're working with another financial institution, only thing we need from the school district in order to supply that information on a regular basis to you is statements from those other financial institutions. We put together a report. We provide this report to you on a monthly basis. As you will see on the next page, it references the cash flows. And what we will do on a monthly basis is report back to, and traditionally, your staff, showing where your inflows are and where your outflows are, provide recommendations. But the thing which is very important is you all are the ones that make the final decisions. And also, it's not necessarily mandated or required that you use a Pliget product. We're going to advise you on where you should be able to do short-term investments, 60, 90 days, medium, longer investments, to try to get the best return on your tax dollars. That's one of my big beliefs. You as elected officials and appointed officials have a responsibility to try to get the biggest bang out of your taxpayer buck, while also making sure that it's handled in a prudent and safe manner. That's one of the things which our cash allocation program would do for the district. As referenced, we'll look at your overnight liquidity needs as well as your longer surplus needs. Just trying to look at some of this stuff. I know that you're busy and you have other things to do, so I'm not going to take up a tremendous amount of your time. One of the things which I have gone into some, but is we would be working with mainly your staff on when the anomalies come. I mean, we can take a look at your flows for the last 10 years and have a great understanding, but only your staff are going to be able to sit there and say, hey, you know, something just happened to our football field. And guess what? We didn't anticipate this, but we're going to have to come up with X dollars in Y amount of time. We will work with you to ensure that those type of areas are taken care of and maintained. With the CAP report also, and it's referencing on this little page here on page 10, it references that we'll take a look at market conditions, talking to your staff about this. We will work with you on recommended investments based on what you see as your historical cash flows, but also as just reference as what Patty would say as you know, you've got an emergency need of some sort. And you are the ones that make the decision on the final allocations. I will sit there and be very honest that I have some clients that I provide this report to, and they don't take the opportunity to use it, and funds may stay liquid. That's not my job to force you what to do. My job is to educate, show you what your opportunities and your abilities are, and then your job is to make the decision, and then we'll make sure that decision comes to fruition. I think one of the things about the developing a good relationship is, you know, making sure that we can, that anybody that works with the district try to get the services at a lowest responsible cost, analyzing your needs, investing your excess funds as we have referenced, and that's more the lines of what I see as the cash management responsibilities. Customer service responsibilities are just as important. As referenced, PF or Pliget has over 3,000 members right now. The trust itself uses PFM, Public Financial Management. I believe you use them as your financial advisor. PFM is basically made up of 4 large units. There's some subsets of that, but you know, one is your financial advisory group that you already use. Asset management is the unit in which I'm in. I spend 90% of my time with the Pliget Trust. PFM's asset management group also manages 14 other state pools throughout the United States. We have our own trading room that we use to purchase things just that are legal within the confines of the Pennsylvania School Code. So there are the things that I think I can bring to the table for you all that many other financial institutions, you know, may not. Flow of communications, you would have to defer to Patty with, you know, prior, I've known Patty for a while. I'm always there. I am stationed out of Harrisburg, but actually live in Delaware County and work out of an office in Malvern. I handle the 18 counties on the eastern part of the state, going from Delaware County up to Susquehanna County. I am probably up in this neck of the woods at least 10 to 12 days a month, somewhere along here. I jokingly say that, you know, my second home is 476 north and south. The Allentown rest stop, the people know me by name in there anymore. So I've been doing this for a while, and I thoroughly enjoy it. I think I've talked about some of our resources between PFM and our reporting. The last part of this is really the appendix, but I did think it was important because I was not sure how many people, you know, that are sitting on the board right now are familiar with Pliget. As I referenced, we started in 1981, and it really was 2 boroughs that got together and said, you know what, if we pool our money together, we can do a better job than if we're just going to a local bank by ourselves. Fast forward today, as I referenced, over 3,000 plus governmental entities in the trust, and we're managing, our high for this year was about $6.5 billion. With the way government spend, we're down right now about $5.8 billion. working with almost every single county, the vast majority of school districts, as you will see on the next page references our board members, but then the following page after that references our entities that are part of the trust. And I'm just looking here, we got 483 schools, 28 intermediate units, and 47 vocational schools. What I did leave for you to take a look at is a sample CAP report. This is the type of report that would be provided to you on a monthly basis. To be very candid, the majority of the time, we'd be working with the staff itself on what's going on and where your funds are. So closing this evening, I first want to say, again, I learned a tremendous amount from your RFP. It was an outstanding RFP. Many of the times this is kind of short and sweet. I really got a feeling for what you, the board members, as well as your staff, were looking to accomplish. I wanted to make sure I came in here with a mindset that I think it's the best interest of the district to utilize not just Pliget, but also, and at this point I wasn't sure who the local financial institution is, but I'm aware of that now, and work together, as a team. And I think that would be in the best interest of the district. It provides your staff a little bit of, hey, what's Robinson have to say, and what's Monk Chunk have to say, because that's important that, we all are coming to you with the same basic ideas, studying the market and things of that nature. Before I conclude, I just want to say, did you have any questions or concerns with regards to the response that we presented with the RFP? Yes, ma'am.
I just have one quick question. Have you two worked together on other districts?
We have not.
I don't think we have.
I was just curious.
Yeah. The thing which I think is important, which is we, the trust, we are not a bank. So we are underneath, we're underneath the Securities Exchange Commission rules and regulations. Monk Chunk's under the banking regulations. Somewhat similar, but also somewhat different. I mean, I'm mandated to be licensed. I have like 6 and 63 in order to even come here and speak to you this evening. As also indicated, the way we're set up is, in our Harrisburg office, we have our own trading room. We have a dedicated group for putting together portfolios. When you were doing your building projects, you did use the Pliget Trust, because then what we do is work with your staff and your architects, etc., and put together portfolios, because you got a lot of money and you didn't spend it all in one day. So there's one of those ideas that we kept working with your draw schedules on what your building needs were to make sure you had the proper liquidity, but it wasn't all sitting there in a quote-unquote checking account. So we've had a relationship. I've been working with the school district on and off since, I'm going to date myself pretty bad, probably since the middle 90s, in several different areas. And I just think the idea of working, as I said, the whole thing from what I saw from your RFP was, you want to put something together, you're not interested in sole sourcing, you're interested in what is in the best interest of the school district. And I think that's what I tried to bring to you this evening.
Do you have other districts where you follow that team approach, or you work with the local?
Yes, it's not uncommon, because and I will say, it's not, I don't want to say it's a negative thing, it's what, we don't have bricks and mortar. So I will say that it's changing just due to the fact that less demand for cash and checks. We're becoming, a society that doesn't use it. I mean, there are also some other programs that I didn't want to bring up tonight, but we have programs that would reduce your check, the need to issue checks, because you could pay literally through the use of a procurement card. And with the use of that procurement card, the school district actually gets a rebate. I always give a little story of, I don't reference names, but very small school district of mine in a neighboring county. And when I say small, a little bit bigger than your boardroom. They were able to reduce their check issuance by 60% in 1 year and got a cash rebate of $15,000. Most vendors enjoy it because they're getting paid in 2 days. You only have to have one payment go out. That's automatically debited from an account. So that's one way of generating a little bit of extra money. In that school district, they actually said that that was, almost 40% of the teacher. So that was a good feeling. We also have developed a new software that we work with school districts on budget analysis going down 5, 7, 10 years. I call it, because I'm not a techno geek, I call it the what if software, where when you're thinking of that budget time and you go, well, gee, what if we did this? You can actually put these scenarios in the system to show what would happen, not just the next year, because very often we're short-sighted, we look at just the next year, but what happens if it's 5 years down the road or 7 years down the road? We've married up with information from Moody's, so actually it's not a Moody's rating, but we use the same statistics, so that if you were to say, hey, what happens if we do X, we're going to pay cash versus borrowing money, everybody might think it's a good idea until you recognize, well, gee, by now you've reduced your cash in hand, and now Moody's doesn't like that, and so you might drop in a credit rating, which means the next time you go out for a borrowing, you're going to have to borrow at a lot higher cost. It's that kind of things that we continuously try to work and find different areas that we can assist you, the elected officials, and assist the appointed officials at the same time. With that, yes, sir.
I have a couple questions, if you don't mind.
I'll be glad to try to answer them.
I'm not on the financial committee, but I'm one of the board members here,
There.
acting as a citizen. When did you send this proposal to Lee Heighton?
I dropped it off this evening.
It doesn't include your annual report.
It was not requested, but it's a bit,
just,
annual report of the trust.
yeah.
I can provide that anytime. So if you're looking for.
I agree, I already looked at it. I was just wondering why it wasn't presented with the proposal.
Didn't feel the need.
Okay. That's not normally something you give to the people looking at joining your trust?
No. If there is information there, well, no, number one, you are already a member of the trust. If I was sitting down with someone who has never met or is talking about becoming a member of the trust, then there is other information that I provide. The school district has been a member of the trust for decades.
Yeah, through PFM, you mean?
No.
Through Pliget
Yes.
itself?
Your last two, as I referenced, your last two bond borrowings, the investments were invested through the Pliget Trust and through a Pliget program.
Okay. It's a nonprofit? Who owns Pliget, or who owns?
The Pliget is a nonprofit put together by 11 board members, as referenced. The board members are listed in that. They have hired PFM since the inception of the trust to be the asset manager of the trust. They go through a RFP process on a regular basis. Don't hold me this, I want to say it's every 5 years that the trust goes out and takes a look at that other people. So, we've been working with them for a while. So it is a nonprofit. We get paid, PFM gets paid a fee, and that's it. Everything else that comes back as far as returns does not go to shareholders because you are the shareholders. What that does is actually increase the return on your investment.
So you work for PFM or for Pliget? Or both?
I work for PFM and act for the trust because the trust uses PFM as their asset manager, but also in this case, they also use us for customer service. They use us for marketing, as I'm here this evening. So I am an employee.
Do you have a card? Did you bring a card?
I have several cards that are left with the staff.
What was your name?
My name is Paul Robinson.
Okay.
But I have there's cards right up there if you need it. It has my direct dot in my office.
Okay, thank you. And what's Kim Buchanan's salary? Do you know?
They receive no salary compensation, board members.
So they're just.
They do it.
I think he's the president, right?
Kim?
Yeah.
She just stepped down from president. And
this year?
Probably within the last 2 months. So if you know Kim, you can be happy to give her a call, but she just
left?
She didn't leave, They rotate off.
So who's?
So this is embarrassing because I can't remember his name, but I do remember he's from the center part. He's from Center County, and he is from the second-class townships.
No problem. And did you get a chance to review our Moody's rating over the past, say, 5 years, and did you chart that out?
I have not charted it out, but I have seen your Moody's rating in the past.
Do you have a 5-year history of our Moody's rating?
Not in my head, no.
Okay, but I mean.
But no, I mean, yeah,
some
I mean,
of us-
again, we work with, PFM, so if I need to get information that I can request it from, if it's public information, I can request it from our financial advisor, or I just would come to your staff.
Right, Moody's would be pretty much public information.
Yeah.
So the question is, when we look at this district's financials, they have a increasing expenditure that it far exceeds their current revenue stream. And it is greater than the amount that the state will allow them to raise taxes.
Okay.
They're above the index, significantly above the index. And once in the transition between what they're currently spending and what they currently have. So it's an unsustainable dollar amount. Did you review that at all?
If you take a look at your RFP, it was asked for the response of banking services.
I know, I just was wondering.
So,
But you're taking on a banking service, so one of the other banks that we had before was looking at it, and they realized that we had $4 million in the bank, but that was gonna go down to zero or near zero within 1 year. So
And
that
they would be
completely changed the dynamic.
and they would be the things looking
When
at.
the board
looking
changed
at-
how they were gonna spend the money, it definitely changed the dynamic of what money was available.
That is not a pure accurate.
It is completely accurate. You had a $40 million budget, you went to 44, and then you grabbed the over $4 million you had in your savings, and you went to near zero.
Sir, what I
within
can
this
say
year.
is my job would be to work with the school district, providing you information.
Right.
I will provide you outstanding information. At that point, as referenced, and you were here earlier, the decision-making is that of the board.
It has to be, correct. I
That's
completely
why
agree.
you're elected, and I'm just a vendor.
Correct, but my question was, did you review that change? Does your
I
proposal
don't
include
know
the
if
fact that we
that's-
have no cash left?
That's not material that I would need to have in order to present this. At a later point, if your board members and your staff asked us to look into this, would be happy to do so, to work with them. In this scenario here, you put out a very good RFP, and we follow that RFP.
Right. But hold on a second, if you have a minute there, Mr. Jensen. So we're looking at the fact that the district's current finances are unsustainable. Your RFP was a function of providing us with the best return on the assets of whatever we have left.
No, your RFP was to look at what was the best interest of the school district with regards to their operating and short-term investments. It was not asked of us to look at an analysis of 5, 10, 15 years down the road. It was to say, what would you do with regards to the funds that are operating funds?
Short-term money,
Short-term money.
which we have less than we need.
Well,
So it's going to be, it's becoming quickly a negative transaction. We've been actually spending more than we've been taking in over the last couple of years.
Mr. Bradley,
So
could you stick
the-
to just questions that pertain to the RFP?
Is this the finance committee meeting or not?
Yes,
But
we
we
were
It's-
asking.
So are you looking at sustainability?
I will say,
The point
sir,
of the agenda at the moment is for the RFP itself.
all the questions you ask are may be good questions, and would be happy to work with the full board and your staff. But at this point, you're asking questions that were not part of the RFP, and I do not want to make misstatements.
I can respect that.
And so I'll be happy to sit with whoever, hopefully in the near future, to see what we can do to do the best that we can do. I can say at a 50,000-foot level that you are probably not the only school district that are having difficulties. With the state of Pennsylvania is putting significant unfunded mandates.
This is just self-inflicted, but we're okay. So
Well,
the question is, the federal
as I
The
said,
Federal
you're not
Home
the
Loan
only-
Bank is your number one investment currently.
is one of the investments that we use, yes.
And do you see that in the near future being maintained as the number one investment, or has it been the number one investment for your program for the last?
We use several investment options.
But that's significant. I mean,
No, it
that's
is-
close
no, it
to
is-
20 some,
no, it
almost
is
30% of
significant. No,
it.
it is significant.
Yeah.
There are also other options there. As I said, we have a trading room that we are constantly looking at what is in the best interest of our clients. So we're not the type that is, that are a buy and hold and wait till it just matures and then start over again.
Nice.
We see the opportunity that we can do to sell and purchase something else, and it's in the best interest of our clients, we will do so.
And how has your return on investment been in comparison to, say, the S&P 500 over the last couple of years?
Well, again, these aren't equity investments.
Right?
So what I can say, right now we have funds, fully liquid funds that are offering over 210 to 215.
2.12, right, is your prime?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
And 1.84 is your class?
is our class, which is basically our checking account. And that's all net fees.
Right. Okay. I appreciate it. I think that the board should look at the annual report of this organization prior to making its decision. And I think that the ownership and management should be reviewed prior to making that decision.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cleaver. So glad you could step in.
If you desire the full 2,000 or 3,000 pages, just let me know.
No, it's 52. But there's 52 pages on the annual report. It's publishable.
Well,
It's
there's
actually
other-
online.
There's other things that we provide.
Oh,
If you're
great.
looking for that type of detail.
I would love to have it. You can send it to my email.
Right now, I'm following the chairman, I guess, right now. So I appreciate any questions, including yourself. Business cards are there. Don't hesitate to give me a buzz. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
Pearl, would you like to?
Sure.
present now?
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'd like to thank everybody for inviting us here tonight. My name is Pearl Sheckler. I use ZOM over the Document Trust Company in the Knighton office. I brought today Todd Smolinski today. He's our business banker. He will be doing a presentation to your board. There will be
Thank you.
bits and pieces that I will step in to address different items, but for the most part, Todd will be presenting. You're welcome.
Let me say thank you for inviting us and giving us the opportunity. If you're not familiar with Mock Chung Trust, we are a trust company bank that has been around since 1902. We have been servicing the community. And when I say we servicing the community, we are not just a for-profit bank that is looking to just worry about our stockholders, our employees. Yes, they are concerns, but we also want to give back to our community. One of the best ways that we give back to the community is providing municipalities, school districts, quality products that a bank can offer at no cost. Let me repeat that. Quality banking products at no cost to the school district. Okay? Whether it's our checking products, whether it's our cash management, online banking products, whether it's a courier service, whatever the district needs to do their business, we will provide to you at no cost. And I think in the RFP, you guys, probably number one on your list was, what is the service going to cost us? And we appreciate that. I think the relationship started in 2011 with the Lehigh Area School District. We went back and looked. We have not charged the school district a cent. It's part of our way that we work with our community that we live in, we work in. If I was 18 again, I'd pick a baseball up, I'd probably hit the branch, but I'm not. I can't do that anymore. But we are that close. We are right there, brick and mortar. You guys need something, a change order, we're right there. You need Pearl, Patty, you know this, you need Pearl's right there. I gave you all my card. My role with the bank, I mean, think about this. I work for 4 large regional banks, and if a business banker would only be assigned to maybe like 6 branches, I'm assigned to 3. So my duty is 3 branches. You guys are very important to me in what I do at Mock Chunk Trust. So I'm another resource for the school district, for my clients, for municipalities to say, hey, I need help, I need answers, I need this, I need that. I'm another resource. Most large banks wouldn't even provide that to you. We are a small community bank. We felt it was important that a business banker was assigned to every branch to not assist, but to work with the branch employees as another resource to the school district and the clients that we serve. So we did a real quick snapshot. I am so proud to work at Mock Chunk Trust because the products that we offer simplify everything that we do for our school districts and our municipalities. Sometimes you get proposals and they're analyzed fees, there's analyzed statements. I've been in banking 20 years, some of these analyzed statements I cannot read. I don't even know what they're trying to do here. An analyzed statement is something to offset the fees that that bank charges. Throw the analyzed statement out the window, we do not have them because we do not charge any fees. We give you all the services that you need without charging anything. So the first slide is just basically from the RFP. It's just a summary of your activity. And then it goes into the next slide, which basically all the services that we've been providing to the school district and will continue to provide. And I was going to use ditto marks, but I just want to make sure there's no fee to the Lehigh Area School District for any product or service that we provide. We are very proud of that. And I think based on the fee schedule, I think based on the RFP, every service that you guys require, that the school district requires, is on here that we will provide to you and continue to provide to you. If we develop a new product or something comes down and it's something that we think you would need, we will definitely present it to the business manager and let them know this is now available. We have spent the better part of last year and the year before making sure that our cash management products are up to speed with all the other banks that we have in the area or out of the area for that matter. So we are very proud of what we can offer the smallest clients, the smallest mom and pop shop out there, but more importantly, what we can provide to a large school district such as yourself. So here's where this makes my life so much easier, my job easier as a business banker. I've worked at several large banks. Our premium products can't make it any easier. And what if I told you your smallest account that you're depositing your coin into or your lunch money into or whatever your smallest account that the school district has is earned in the same rate of return as your large account that has all your funds in. That little account is earned in the same rate of interest as your large account that you have all your expenses and your income coming into. That takes the worry, the questioning out of anything that the school district does. I don't have to worry about moving money from account A to account B because I know it's earning the same amount. Now I could just focus on my task at hand. I got to pay bills, I got to do my daily routines. I'm not worried about that money earning interest. I know it's earning the same interest. No matter what deposit account you have in our premium checking account, will earn the same rate of interest. There's no analyzation, there's no, let's take a look at this, there's none of that. Put the money in one of our deposit accounts, it's earned in the same rate of interest as a $6 million account, as a $30 account that money just got deposited in from whatever organization that's with the Heidenberry School District. So we simplified life for our school districts. There's no need to look at, oh, I need to move this, I need to sweep this, I need to do this. No, we wanted to take all that away. We came up with a premium checking account, and it's very simple. Yes, it's a variable rate. It's based on the LIBOR rate. We can't spell it out any simpler. It's in the Wall Street Journal, and it's less 35 basis points, basically, whatever they're publishing on the 15th of every month. That rate,
May I add, Todd, that interest is compounded daily and added into your account at the end of each month. So it does accrue interest every day. It just doesn't get added into the account until the end of the month. So it's a lump sum versus pennies.
So at the time we put the proposal together, the variable rate on the 15th of September, the accounts would be earning 1.68% with a 1.69% APY. And it does spell out what Pearl just had added in there, that interest is compounded monthly and credited to the account monthly. Again, simplicity, transparency, easy. The products you need, the rate, the best rate you could get. So imagine taking school district money and put it into a money market account in a bank that's maybe a teaser rate. That rate would fall after 3 months after the promo is over. We keep that rate as long as that's what LIBOR is. We simplified it. It can't get any simpler. Second part of the RFP was security. Okay, we have improved our cash management products over the past year to make sure that our security, access to accounts, that is to the proper levels that whoever needs access to certain accounts will get that access. If they do not need that access to that account, they will not receive that access. We can pinpoint and build out our cash management system to however the business manager sees fit. So if you have an employee that is doing the remote deposit capture checks, and that's the only thing that employee that's their job, we may only, if that's how you want to build out, we will only give them access to put those checks in through the remote deposit capture scanner. And they will only have access to the account that that's going into. We can specify exactly how you want us to build this out for your cash management needs. Right now, the school district is not doing remote deposit capture. That is now available, again, at no cost to the school district. Some of our online features will include 24/7 access. It allows you to manage your accounts, view checks, transfers, funds. Again, this is built to specific specifications that we are told to. I will come out and sit with Patty, build it out, what employee needs access to what account, and specify and build it out that way. So it's very detailed. Employees that have access to cash management will have the security of tokens for login purposes. So the district knows, the bank knows exactly who's logging in, what they're doing, why they're doing it, and basically if they don't have a token, they won't have access to any of the online features on the account. Again, merchant capture is now available. Basically, I think right now the district is using runners to make deposits. So the remote deposit capture scanner will allow you to make those deposits at any time. The cutoff time is 3 o'clock, as it is stated in our proposal. If you can still deposit after 3 o'clock, it will just be deposited the very next morning as soon as the system's back on and somebody actually runs them through. If a check is scanned, I just want to go through that. It's basically real time as if you were standing in front of a teller. However, the only thing that would get red flagged is if something, let's say there's a smudge mark or some sort of detail on that check that doesn't look quite right to the system, it will get flagged. Somebody in our back office will actually review that check, see if it's just a smudge mark or it wasn't altered in any way. If it was altered in any way, we will pull it, we will contact the district immediately. If we see that it's just a mark from, maybe a pen, there's nothing wrong with it, we'll send it through. So there's that added security feature that checks aren't being altered.
There are pros and cons with the scanners. The pros for the district is you get to keep the checks that you actually deposited. The cons that I see with it is you are now like a bank employee running the deposits. So you have to outweigh which would cost more to you as a district. Have one of your employees actually do it or drop it off like you usually do.
The requirement though for retaining those checks is like 2 weeks, so that's, until they clear and make sure that they go through the clearinghouse. At that point, they can be shredded and destroyed. So you don't have to keep them forever, it's just a 2-week period to make sure that they went through it properly. The funds are obviously protected, that anything that you have on deposit up to $250,000 through FDIC. After that, MCT will collateralize all funds in excess of the FDIC insurance, which I said is $250,000 in accordance with the Act 72. We will also comply with the district's request to exclude both municipal securities and corporate securities from the collateral pool, even though this is eligible under the Act 72 and Circular 92. MCT will continue to provide monthly collateralization deposit confirmation detailing the specific security of the U.S. government-backed pool pledged to the district deposit balance. Currently, MCT does have an independent third-party provider completing the collateral evaluation. That was another question that I felt we needed to spell out. The funds will be secured through collateralization. Lastly, customer service. The RFP asked for referrals from other school districts, which we provided the minimum. I would hope we could actually use the school district as a referral. I think for the past several years, we have provided top-notch service and products to the school district, and anytime we made improvements to our products, we let you know right away that they were available. We are unique in the fact that we're a small bank, but yet we have a lot of resources. The school district has always worked closely with the branch, which is very close. I am another resource. So we are giving 3 points of contacts, where Pearl will be the primary contact, I will be a secondary contact, and then Tina, our assistant manager at the Lehighton branch, will be also a secondary contact. Normally, for school districts, I put myself first, but this is such a great relationship that you guys have. I wanted to make sure Pearl stayed the primary contact and nothing changed with that. Are there any questions right now from the Finance Committee or anybody else for that matter? Again, our products are very simple, transparent, and right to the point. Again, we don't want to be moving money around. We want to make sure that every dollar that is deposited into our accounts receives the same rate.
Is there any questions?
I'm sure he does.
Mr. Bradley?
Well, I figured there's nobody on the Finance Committee. Any questions on the proposal?
At this time, no, David.
No, okay. So if the district uses your bank,
Yes, sir.
we deposit roughly $40 million.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna consume 44 this year, but just for now, we're gonna deposit about $40 million throughout the year. There's no fees associated with all these services that are normally done within a checking account, transfer of information and money from one person to another, which is common.
Correct.
How much money is Ma Chunk Bank gonna net from having this $40 million move into its bank comparison to it not moving into this bank?
How much money will the bank make if,
Ballpark.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're not doing this for your profit corporation, as everyone should be.
No, but our margin is 0.35.
Correct.
Yes.
So what does that end up being to you guys?
I don't know the exact number because I don't know if there's any fees on top of what we pay.
Right.
I don't know the
But
exact.
ballpark $140,000?
Our CFO would have to answer questions to that
But I mean,
sort.
0.35 on $40 million is about $140,000.
If we're even receiving the full 0.3.
Full, yeah, exactly right.
That would, yeah.
And why did they, I mean, I'm sure that they have their own reasons, but LIBOR versus prime. Just more convenient, easy, because
More
LIBOR is basically
transparent.
the,
It's just more transparent. It's just, I think we went to that route because we had a formula that in the past maybe people didn't understand, so we went to use the LIBOR. I don't know the rhyme or reason why we picked LIBOR.
it's just basically you're making us a funding source for your bank, as if any other funding source would be if you're borrowing money from one bank to the other.
Yes.
We're treating us like a bank,
Well,
kind of, vice versa.
Sure.
I mean, we're your lending institution. We're giving you the $40 million you get to lend out.
That's how banks work, Mr. Bradley.
Exactly right. And that's why, I'm assuming that's why they picked the LIBOR. I just wanted to see if that's why. I like it. I just was wondering why they picked it.
I was
Makes
told
sense.
that it's an easier way of doing it. It's just a simple way, it's LIBOR, minus the 0.35. It's transparent.
Correct. And I think it's, yeah, if you look at what LIBOR really is, it's the lending rate from one bank to another. So
Yeah.
it's basically we're that bank. So did you look at our Moody's rating at all?
I did not personally know. No,
Okay.
I did not.
So if we're
Our
providing you
CFO
funds,
did, I know that.
yeah, we should have a trend of our Moody's rating that we should try to keep in line. And then the last thing is in the past
Can
we
I ask
had,
you a question though, Mr. Bradley?
sure,
Why are you asking us about the Moody's rating? I'm just,
because you're treating us like a revenue source.
right.
So our ability to provide that as a stability, this district's unsustainable currently, in my opinion. And the math opinion of anybody that can do basic math, we've been spending more than we generate. And I want to make sure that once this comes to a head, once the poor decision-making gets to a point where they can't even raise the taxes high enough using the index rate to meet the overexpansion of consumption, stuff's going to hit the fan. So if you didn't check it, or if it wasn't part of this arrangement, that's good, because when it significantly changes in the future, we don't want to lose the banking relationship as well,
We partner with our customers.
right?
The school district, we partner with them.
I understand that.
Part
I'm just
of
saying.
partnering with somebody is taking lows and having highs. So if you feel like there's gonna be a lull,
Oh, yeah.
we're not turning our back on it.
And I can respect that.
That's the basic answer I can give you.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure if it's part of the algorithm making this proposal and decision, because if it changes. And then the other thing was, last year they had some concerns about positive pay. Can you explain what took place with the fraud situation and how it's been rectified?
I can explain that.
Awesome, thank you.
Our back office actually reviews your accounts through our ACH
Right.
network. And they are the ones that noticed that the duplicate checks were coming through and contacted the district first thing in the morning. We contacted the district, and within 7 hours, an employee that's sitting at a table was able to flip your whole accounts, and we were able to stop all the fraudulent activity, and the bank took responsibility for that. If you pull in positive pay, again, it turns around to your district employees to catch it, because at that time, they have to review the duplicate checks.
Right, you have hundreds of eyes looking and responsible, not just an outsourced bank.
Positive Pay is an uploaded program that your employees look at on a daily basis, and they have to make sure that all the checks come in line. Versus what happened here, we were checking your ACH files, and we caught the fraudulent activity. And what it actually was were checks that were made out to other people that were picked up from your site.
From our side, right? Yeah, I mean, it's a risk. We're definitely, a large bear to poke would be the term, as most government agencies are.
So, it was very fortunate, it was very fortunate for this district that it turned around so quickly.
Right. And that was something that you guys can do in-house. You just change account numbers. Therefore, anybody that has the old account number can no longer use that account to get their check.
Correct. The account was frozen on the spot. It
Yep.
was switched over, and the district ran it seamlessly.
You reset the clock, which is awesome. That's what needs to happen. Excellent.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I get it, please?
Thank you.
Excuse me.
The next item on the agenda is Georgia's Transportation, the daily run bill. There were 20 days for most firms, and the total is $123,836.35.
Review with that appropriate. Ms. Miller?
Patty, on that report, there was some handwritten stuff at the bottom. What were those in reference to?
Those are the account numbers that the bill will be charged to in accordance with school code.
But there's a $3,049 and a smaller amount handwritten at the bottom of that.
Mr. Bradley, the total of those three numbers total $123,836.35, which is the total amount of the bill. They go to separate account numbers in accordance with school code.
Okay, and
That's the
why were
only
they
comment I
separated?
have for you in regards to that question.
But why were they separated? What was the difference between one school bus and another school bus bill? Why do they have different codes?
It is in accordance with school code.
How is it in accordance with school code? Are they
It is
different?
in accordance with school code, Mr. Bradley, that's all I have to say.
I mean, is it a different account because it's a different?
It's a different function.
Yeah, it's a different function. What is it?
That's
Can
what
you
it says.
explain it to us?
Mr.
Can you
Bradley,
educate your board?
I am not going to explain anything more than it is in accordance with the chart of accounts as dictated by Pennsylvania Department of Education.
Is there any way you can help educate your directors?
No, not at this time.
Thank you. Do you guys know what the differences were? Rita, do you know the difference? Finance committee member?
No comment, Mr. President.
Okay. Andy, do you know the difference?
No comment.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Capola. Did you have anything else to present to us?
That was it for tonight.
Make a motion to adjourn?
I have a question in the open discussion. I know it's not what we talked about tonight, but I'd rather bring it up here when the meeting is shorter than bring it up at the board meeting. I've been looking at the budget, and I noticed that for the 1190 object, which is the federally funded programs, regular programs, last year there was zero budgeted for salaries and zero budgeted for benefits. This year, I think it's budgeted $2,500 for salaries. But again, zero budgeted for benefits, but each year,
The state allows you to budget things out of 1,100 function. Then you can break it down into sub-functions. In many schools, we'll just budget at that 1,100 level, but then when you close out your books, the actual spending goes to 1,190, but because everything rolls up into the 1,000 instruction level, that's the difference.
okay. The other question I had was in the 1230s and the 1240s, the percentage of benefits to salary. In 1230, it's 95.85% of the salary or the benefits. And in the 1240s, it's 96.63%.
That could depend on the coverage level, whether somebody has single coverage, whether they have family coverage. There could be great
Okay, so
discrepancies
that's
amongst
because,
that.
in the regular
Mhm.
salaries, it's about 34.29%.
There's a smaller number of people within those functions, within those 1,200 functions.
Okay,
So if you have all singles in one and all family in another, that's what's going to skew that.
okay,
Whereas
all right,
in the 1,000 function, that's where the bulk of your teaching staff is.
right.
So those changes.
Well, that's why the salaries are so much lower.
Correct.
You know, the total amount of salaries is so much lower. All right, thank you, that explains it.
Andy, will the Finance Committee make recommendations to allow individual directors to be given full access to all the district financial records held by the administration as outlined in Pennsylvania School Code 518?
No comment, Dave.
Rita, will you make that recommendation? Will the Finance Committee save money and provide detailed records that are available under the Right to Know law to be published without the cost of filing a Right to Know request? Will you make that, Andy, recommendation?
No comment, Dave.
Rita?
No comment, Dave.
Thank you. Will the district reopen the budget to revoke the tax increase and lower the proposed expenditures to below the anticipated revenues so this government doesn't spend more than it takes in? Will you recommend that for us, Andy?
No comment, Dave.
How about you, Rita?
No comment.
No comment? Okay, thank you. The full board and stakeholders have not been given access to the district's negotiations between the largest service provider and the district. Will you do anything to allow those people to have a seat in the room and skin in the game?
It's a personnel committee. I have no comment on that, Dave.
It's actually the negotiations, not about personnel committee.
It's personnel.
Personnel? How about you, Rita? Any help there? Okay,
Ditto.
no problem. Will the Finance Committee recommend that drug screening be done and performed on new hires and once a year on the existing staff of the district to save finances within the district?
Not a question for this committee.
Actually, it is about finance, about saving the money for the district. No. How about you, Andy? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your attendance.